health coach. That's the name of the company, the Whole Food Health Coach.
It is.
Welcome to the program, Stephanie. What does a certified health coach do? What does the Whole Food Health Coach do?
Wow. I educate people, and I got to tell you, Mike, I have gotten an education today. Thank you, both Brian and John. I love teaching people about eating real food, getting back to the basics. And so my certification is with Dr. William Sears, and he is 45 years as a pediatrician, so very well known. He's written over 45 different books, and you probably might know his son, Jim Sears, that's on The Doctors on TV. And I love my certification with him because he's back to basics just like me, you know, the grassroots, the way we eat. It really matters, everything we put in our mouth. And so I love to teach parents how to feed their kids. I know they're not eating enough vegetables no matter where we hide those peas. And so I have lots of different ways to give them great recipes and help them to understand the value of those vegetables and what they're doing. I help people one-on-one, and I do classes. And I love my one-on-one because then I can customize my program a little bit depending on what the need is. And it could be anything from lowering cholesterol numbers or blood pressure or dealing with diabetes or people who are pre-diabetic. And that's kind of my thing. I'm trying very hard to be very preventative and helping people to prevent the diseases. I'm a 2-time cancer survivor, so I believe in cure, but I believe a whole lot more in prevention. And about 75 to 80% of what we deal with in illnesses and diseases, unfortunately, are preventable. So I'm all about prevention.
You may have just touched upon my next question, which is a lot of folks I know that are in your field, usually there's a personal story that got them to where they are. And I think you might have just touched upon it there, but what is it that led you to becoming a certified health coach?
Well, I've been what I call a student of nutrition for about 16 years since my second bout with cancer. I would say the first time you get that diagnosis, it'll get your attention. The second time will change your life. I kept saying I never wanted another parent to have to look at their kids again and say, I have cancer. And it's still, even though it was that long ago, it still makes me just a little, shaky. But I remember those days, and I got thinking, what is it that I don't know? I'm not saying I brought on the cancer myself or with my choices I did, but I also started thinking I need to take a little more ownership. And I think sometimes we, expect the world around us, or like John was talking about, the quick fix. I think that some people want right away. They're used to, well, I shouldn't be doing this, but I've got this pill, and we just get so used to those kind of things instead of really kind of owning it previous to that and really seeing what it is we can do to partner with our body. Our body's trying to stay alive. We ought to kind of partner with it.
I would think that's one of the challenges, too, is a lot of folks won't make that change until something traumatic happens in their life.
Very true.
So a lot of times you may be just getting blue in the face, but until something actually happens personally, they may not make that change.
Our doctors that I work with, some will say the healthiest people that they know are the people who just had a heart attack. And because that's when it, will get your attention. But why does it take that? I always tell people, it's like, don't you just want to feel good just for the sake of feeling good and making great choices just because it feels good to make great choices? I mean, to me, I love my principles. I do a good, better, best scenario. And I love to help people go from bad to good, good to better, better to best. And I've done that myself over 16 years, really learning a lot more about what I put in my body and why it matters. And also about our kids, because I think that unfortunately with the fast food generation and the convenience generation that we live in, they're the ones that are kind of getting the short end of the stick, if you will. My dad was a gardener, and so, I grew up going out and grabbing a tomato off the vine and eating it right off the vine. But our kids sometimes don't even know where their food is coming from. I have a cute little story. I hadn't thought about this, but I was talking to a teenager one time who was talking to me about French fries. And I said, well, I was trying to explain, the oils and different things that they use, and there might be a better choice and some things. And I said, if I do want a French fry every now and then, I will get the steak fries, the real thick ones. And he looked at me and said, what's in the middle of those? And I was just like, a potato? But you know what's interesting about that story is the fact that French fries, there's no word potato there. If a child is not really, in tune with what they're putting into their bodies like that, then they might ask those kind of questions. So I didn't really want to blame him or make fun of him, but it was shocking at the moment.
You haven't met my kid, have you?
No.
Okay.
Stephanie, I think sometimes when people, before they've had the heart attack, one of the reasons they might not go from not want to take some steps is it just seems so overwhelming. So where do you like to start with people? What are the first things you're going to cover when you first consult with someone?
That's a great question. And probably, I think there's so much misinformation out there these days that does make people feel very overwhelmed. And so one of the questions on my assessment form, I do free assessments with people just to kind of see where they've been, where they are now, and where they want to go. And then, of course, making sure I'm the right person to get them there. And one of the questions that I ask them is, where do you get your nutritional information? And I laugh a lot of times, internet is one of those things. And I go there too. There's a lot of information out there. But if you don't know how you're weeding through that information to see really what's true and what's not true, or what the real research says behind it, not just a testimonial or some doctor that believes in it or whatever, so that's what I do for my clients. Meeting with me helps them to find just one source to vet that information from. And then I pride myself into, bringing it down to their level so they can understand. So I talk specifically about carbs, and I call it eating right carbs, not low carbs, and eating right fats, not low fats. What is omega-3? Why do you need unsaturated fats? Are saturated fats really that bad for you? Well, there's a lot to learn about it, and so I break it down one class at a time. I have a nutrition class that's a 2-hour course that my husband says it's like drinking from a fire hose to listen to me for 2 hours, tell them 8 different topics. But so I really prefer the one-on-one where I spend an hour at a time with each client over 7 weeks so that I can make sure that they really understand so they take ownership. Because the problem I see is the confidence level, and you hit the nail on the head, is that they just don't have confidence in what they're choosing. They're hoping this works or they're hoping that works. But they don't really believe in it. And I teach them to believe in what they're doing and to know how to make those best choices on their own. But my program has a Coach in Your Corner program, and I'm real. I should trademark that, but because now millions of people know it.
That's right. That's right.
But the Coach in Your program is really exciting because it helps people to connect with me 24/7, so they can text me, email me, or call me if they're in the grocery store or they're having they've got their spoon and the gallon of ice cream sitting in there, ready to go. So there's all kinds of ways that I help people, not just answering their questions, but also kind of holding their hand through the process until they really own that process and make it their own.
She doesn't know your son, but she apparently has got a camera in my kitchen late at night.
I do pantry makeovers and creative cooking.
So,
oh wow!
Well, I want to dig just a little bit deeper into what you said. I'm going to grasp onto something you said. There is so many plans. There's so many books. This is an industry that. All you got to do is, you don't have to do any exercise. You don't have to do, all you got to do is have this pill. All you got to do is I know that you're not the only good one out there, but are the good ones the one that really, when you get to the bottom of it, when I sit through your nutritional program and when I've sat with you for 7 hours, I'll go, it really is kind of common sense. It really makes a lot of sense.
Maybe.
Okay.
But what you don't know is hurting you.
Okay.
And a lot of people think they know what to do, and then they sit with me and they learn what they thought they knew. And it's my job to figure out what it is you know and what you need to know, what you don't know. And so I really believe that there's a lot of dabbling in this and dabbling in that and trying this and trying that. And if you don't really know what you're doing, you're not really in a lane that's working for you. And that's where I come in. I can point you in that direction, and I'll even put the what are those gutter rails, down the bowling alley, so you don't get in the gutter, because you can get off the road on the right side just like you can on the left. And so the goal is really, owning that 80% of what you can change. There's still that 20%. I mean, I have made really great healthy choices. In fact, I'm an inside tracker, which is something that Dr. Sears started. He actually chose 5 of us health coaches, and ones that were really working it, like I do. I'm a full-time at this. So he chose 5 of us, and he sent us to a place where you get blood drawn, and they actually draw like 6 or 8 vials of blood. I was like, am I going to have any left? And but they took it and they look at 31 different biomarkers, and this is not the kind of blood work you get, just with your regular physicals. And they wanted us, or Dr. Sears wanted us, to give our opinion of this inside track. And so they did these tests on me, and they have a program in that testing that gives you your inner age. And when I took the test, I was 57.1 years old, but my inner age was 44.5. So you can change your biomarkers. You really can do some things in your body with food that you would never realize that you actually had that kind of control. So I love what I do. I love seeing the change that it offers people. And I love the ripple effect where the parents really gain ownership and they teach their kids. And then it just goes on from generation to generation.
Stephanie Wolfe is the whole food health coach. Not only does she have a camera in Stephen's kitchen, but she's seen me bowl as well. For our business listeners out there, how can you serve the business community?
I love serving the business community, and the reason I do is because they're so stressed. Most business owners, or especially owners, really carry so much weight.
Why did everybody in the room look at each other and go, yeah?
I saw those heads.
Did you hear the amen? I heard a loud amen.
I'm sure the audience is nodding as well, because of course, I really know how much responsibility they carry, and there's a lot of stress with that, and there's a lot of late nights, and there's a lot of fast food or fast choices that they have to make, or non-eating, where they go for hours without eating. It's so bad for your insulin. Please don't do that. But the goal is understanding that your body has hormones, and stress hormones are really fighting our body on a regular basis. And so as cortisol is raised in your body, it is very hard on yourself. Like I said earlier, your body tries hard to stay alive. And, there's times where I think if our body could talk to us, it might say, whose side are you on? Because we think everything is going to rise or fall, or, on us being there, on us doing this, and on us, making everybody happy. And sometimes we do that to the detriment of our body or to the detriment of our families, because our families need us. And so business owners, your business needs you, but you need you to be around. It's kind of like the airplane, put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you can help anybody else. And when we don't feel good, like I teach this program to corporations, I call it workplace wellness. And I can come in, I can do a lunch and learn, I can spend an hour at lunch, once a week or for 5 days or a weekend, or you can do it as a benefit to your employees, which is great. And hopefully you as the owner will be there so you can hear some of these things and really put them into practice, because there's a lot of fun things that I do when I bring my lunch and learns and help people to really kind of take ownership. And I always say I create recipes and foods that your body will love as much as you love. And so I'm no rice cakes on my watch.
They say a happy employee is a productive employee. A healthy employee is also a productive employee.
That's right.
Why don't you go ahead and give us all the contact information, websites, anything you want to share with our listening audience. While you're doing that, Brian and myself are going to grab the candy jar in the middle of the table and kind of hide that from your view.
I know there's always a candy jar everywhere. Well, I am the Whole Food Health Coach, but you can go to www.wholefoodhealthcoach.com. Just wholefoodhealthcoach.com. You can call me at 770 846-3515, or you can email me, Stephanie, STEPHANIE, at wholefoodhealthcoach.com. No yahoo.com or gmail.com, John. But I have a class coming up, a nutrition class, if you feel like drinking from a fire hose on nutrition. It is March the 5th. It is at 2 p.m. at the Epic Family Life Center in Duluth, Georgia. And I am available for one-on-one consults at any time.
Great. Stephanie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.
All right. Stephanie Wolfe, the certified health coach with the Whole Food Health Coach.